Another bit of an update on the Barra into ED. Just running you through a few other little bits and pieces. Power steering lines on these. What I do is, you see that little plastic tab there? I cut that down a bit, and then the factory E-series power steering line, I just bend it, heat it up till it's cherry red, and bend it. It's almost, you may as well say 180 degrees from where it's supposed to be for the E-series. Like normally the E-series, stay there, fuck you. Normally the E-series would come out, where are we, like that, just 90 degrees straight out from there. So you've got to straighten that part out. You can see where it started to bend there at the factory part. You got to straighten it almost out fucking flat. And then up there in the factory fitting, it goes straight into the B-series pump. And then just slots into its spot like that. Factory return line goes on as normal. Straight onto the outlet of the pump. The other thing is alternator, AUBA 2-pin alternator bolts straight on and plugs straight in. No fucking around with that at all, unless you've got the BF alternator mounting bracket, because there is a difference between the mounting bracket between the AUBA and the BF. That's actually a BF bracket. This is actually a BF motor, but it's still got the Z9 filter, so it's an early BF motor, because I think it was the 6th of 06 update or something like that. They went to the, I think it's the Z154 or something, the smaller filter with a different thread. But yeah, all you do is you got to drill a hole through and put a little spacer there if you're using the BF bracket. I didn't have a BA one kicking around, so that was it. Gearbox is all bolted in. Got them tabs all bolted up. The one thing I don't have at the moment is my rear head sensor. So that's going to be fun to try and get in there, but there is enough room just. Besides that, unless you're rooting around and getting custom bloody power steering lines made or modifying the BA ones to suit or whatever, when you're doing your wiring, you just wire in the pressure switch that's on the power steering rack on these, which is fairly simple. All it is modifying where instead of it taking its signal from up here, it's taking it from down there. It's a piece of piss. Oh, the other thing, there's the factory EA through ED mounts all bolted up. Bolt straight up to the Barra block, no problems. Hoses, use all your factory hoses. Like, because I'd already converted this to basically EFEL AU spec as far as the engine's concerned, it was a bit easier than doing a straight up EA through ED. But yeah, EFEL and I think the AU might even be the same hose, lower hose. If you are using your EAEBD reservoir bottle and hose, all you do is chop your hose a bit shorter for the 90-degree EFEL radiator. Fairly simple. I'd already converted this to thermo fans using an ELECU, so that's all exactly the same. Keep my relay block, upper hose, you know, all your breather hoses for your overflow bottle, or your burping hoses, bubble hoses, expansion hoses, whatever the fuck you want to call them. They all go up in the same spot. EFEL upper radiator hose goes in the same spot. I know some people, when they do forward facing plenums, and I think the fucking FG manifold, you use the EAEB ED thermostat top housing, which comes down like that. And I know for a fact that the hose will fit in that spot as well, because I've done that before. Besides that, you can see the aircon pump all bolted up using the factory lines. The other thing I haven't worked out yet, which will be part of the wiring while I'm rooting around doing all that, is whether I use these plugs and just modify them to the E-series harness, or bypass them entirely, because that's the factory aircon clutch or plug, and this one is for the pressure valve, I think it's called, in the aircon system, so it can tell that if the pressure's too low or too high, it can shut the system off. Besides that, haven't got any of the heater hoses hooked up yet, but yet again, because I'd already converted this to, you know, broadband manifold setup, I've just reused my vacuum switch piping, my broadband manifold switch there. Part of this, I'm going to try and reuse as much of the factory wiring as possible, because I'm actually going to mount the ECU in the kick panel where the factory E-series one would go. I'm going to try and integrate it as much as possible into the factory harness. You know, things like the canister purge solenoid, I want that to be just, yeah, triggered as per factory. That way it'll reuse all the auxiliary relay and fuel pump relay and all that over that side. It'll use the factory starter relay. What else? I've got to extend my PCV hose. That's just the one that I pulled off the AU engine. Main difference is AU, it's up this end of the rocker cover. On B series, it's complete opposite, right down the end on the other side. Yet again, EABD mount on this side. This one I have reinforced using some chain, because these aren't the toughest mounts ever. They they are prone to ripping apart if you put a fair amount of power through them or give them a good amount of clutch kicks or something, which this thing will cop a bit of a hiding every now and again. What else? Up here, that's the section of the Rio you got to cut out to clear the rocker cover. Besides that, underneath, one issue is if you're running a manual with the cable type clutch, there's no hole in the bottom of the sump there for the cable to pass through. So normally the cable would go through about there. So you've got to drill a hole for the cable to pass through to go to the clutch fork. But yet again, that's nothing major. Yet again, I'm going to try and reuse the separate harness. I know it's going to be a hell of a lot of wiring, but I reckon it's going to be the better way to go. The other thing, see if I can zoom in on it enough, is I've noticed it's actually better, bloody coolant dripping in my face, to swap your heater pipes around, or your heater hoses I should say, because the one on this side, well, this is when I do it my way with the E-series pipes. This side is usually the one with the heater tap, and then the other side is the one that like loops down in a 180 and goes into the pipe that goes around the back of the motor to the water pump. And it's actually better to swap them around. Put the heater tap one on this side and the other one on this side. Besides that, your fuel hoses, you can use the factory Barra ones and just cut that bit off. There's enough length there, like more than enough length, for them to just go straight onto the factory E-series lines with a couple of clamps. So, yeah, getting it in there and getting it plumbed and that is fairly simple. It's just all the wiring side that's a lot to it. Also, for those who are planning on doing a turbo eventually, or want to run extra gauges or whatever, you can see there you got your first sensor and your second one. The second one is a standard Imperial type pipe thread. It's easy to get adapters and shit for that one. At the moment I've got a aftermarket oil pressure gauge sensor plumbed in with the factory sensor. So eventually I am going to be doing a turbo on this as well. Not for a while, but that makes it future proof to be able to add the oil feed for the turbo. An oil drain for turbo on these is easy. There's already the boss there for it, and all you do with them is you draw your center hole out, drill and tap 2 holes, and there's a bolt-on drain plate that you can get from eBay. They're about, like, they're less than $15 delivered. It's got your AN fitting on the end and everything. It's, yeah, piece of piss. Oh. Speaking of which, eventually when I do go turbo, because I've already got a bonnet scoop, fucking come on, there we go. Nissan bloody diesel bonnet scoop. And the fact that these things have got absolutely jack shit room in the front for an intercooler, especially when you're trying to keep your aircon. The eventual plan is a top mount F6 cooler modified a bit. So something like that anyway. Cut the end tanks and modify them, mounts and all that shit, but there should be enough room to do a half reasonable size top mount. Yes, I know they do heat soak more and space is going to be limited in that, but realistically, without having them at the front sticking out like dog's balls, chopping the shit out of your Rio on your bumper, it's about the only way I can think of, you know, running an intercooler without it sticking out like dog's balls and attracting all the attention of the law. So yeah, besides that, that's about it for this update, I think. Still got a shitload of work to do, but it is getting there. Slowly but surely, it is getting there. Main goal today is, yeah, get all the little fiddly bits done, power steering hooked up, fluid in the system, get the rest of the hoses done, get coolant in it, check for leaks. I've still got to work out a cat pipe section as well. Still got the high flow cat from the extractors and previous exhaust, so I've got to chop up a factory downpipe and yeah, make it work. Besides that, as I say, just trying to get all the little bits and pieces done today. The next few days are going to be stinking hot. It's bloody hot enough today. So yeah, I just want to try and get as much of the little shit done as possible, and then when it's really hot I can plod along with the wiring, because that's not too strenuous in the heat. Apart from that, yeah, thanks for watching. Hope this helps a few people with some tips, and yeah, have a good one.